menonton video ini, jangan lupa subscribe, like, komen, dan share. Jangan lupa belnya juga ya. Thank you. Hi everybody. I hope you are doing great, even though we are still in uncertain condition during pandemic outbreak. We must keep up the spirit, okay, as youngsters. And what we are going to do today for the writing session, you're going to be with me. The topic that we have to cover is writing paragraph supporting details, but in the frame of argumentative paragraph. I'm sure that you have learned some other types of paragraph, narrative, descriptive paragraph, and now it is time for the argumentative paragraph, focusing on the supporting details. Okay, in this video I'm going to give you 3 suggested ways. I also explain each way, okay, to support the details, giving you the examples plus explanation of the examples. Let's take a look at the explanation and also the examples through this teaching video. Let's check this out.
Hello everybody, welcome to the writing class, and I do believe you have learned a lot from the beginning until now. You've been introduced the paragraph outlining, all right, and then you move on to the unity and coherence. You also introduce how to use transitional signals in a paragraph, and then you move forward to the introduction of types of paragraphs such as narrative paragraph, descriptive paragraph, argumentative paragraph. So what do you think about argumentative paragraph? What is your opinion about argumentative paragraph? Do you think it's an easy paragraph to construct, or probably this is a type of paragraph that you are good at? Okay, so I do hope that the same as the other paragraphs, you are also good at constructing an argumentative paragraph. And for today, we are going to focus on the subtopic in an argumentative paragraph, which is writing paragraph supporting details. Probably as you have learned in previous class with the other teachers, but today I'm going to enrich your understanding. I'm going to expand your knowledge about writing paragraph supporting details in a frame of argumentative paragraph. All right, let's take a look at the first slide. On your screen, I put 3 suggested ways to support an argument. Since the key phrase here is supporting details, then we are going to focus on that one. So the suggested ways that I put here, number 1 is statistics, right? So statistics. And then the second one is through examples. And number 3 is expert opinion. All right, so those are the ways that I'm going to introduce to everybody for today's session. The 3 suggested ways to support an argument. Let's take a look at one by one. Statistics. Okay, I'm sure you are familiar with this terminology, this term, statistics. All right. So what basically statistic conveys? So it conveys information in numerical form, numbers, figures, which is often referred to as data, right? And then what statistic is? It is most accessible and convincing when they are used sparingly and in combination with an explanation of why the numbers are significant. So the point of the second issue is numbers, figures will not be so powerful if you don't put any explanation in it. It won't be so meaningful if you only put numbers, if you only put figures without explanation. So numbers, figures, numerical forms combined with explanation is going to be a powerful element in your argument. All right, so it's quite easy. Now we move on to the example. I have given you the example here. Let's take a look at the example very carefully using statistic. Yeah. The second point, the second issue is number figures should be combined with explanation. The slower traffic speeds necessitated by traffic circles also reduce the number and severity of accidents. In an article from the journal Planning titled "Let's Go Round and Round, an idea that is worth copying," author George Jaguar describes a study of 181 recently built roundabouts in Netherlands. So once again, in this sentence, it was introduced the number figure 181 roundabouts in the Netherlands. The explanation is some of these roundabouts were built at previously uncontrolled intersections, while others replaced traffic signs or traffic lights. So once again, without explanation, 181 roundabouts in the Netherlands won't be meaningful, won't be powerful if we don't put this explanation. Furthermore, we can take a look at the next sentence. Results of the study show a 51% reduction of total accidents and a 72% reduction of injury-causing accidents. Because traffic circles force motorists to slow down and pay attention, they lead to safer intersections. So you see that this is one example. Later you can make your own examples how to put the statistics element in one of your supporting details plus with the explanation. All right. How about the second way, examples? The first one is statistics using number and figures, but don't forget to give explanation so that it will be powerful or meaningful. And in this case, for the example, the second way, if appropriate examples, if you provide appropriate example, they can support the writer's contention that a general statement is true. So appropriate example can support the general statement. Okay, so this is an important underline. Appropriate example. So what does it mean by appropriate examples? Later we can see the real example. Number two, not only do they provide specific and details in support of a claim, the vivid description they often include helps capture and retain the reader's attention. So I put the underline here. Vivid descriptions upon the examples can help capture and retain the reader's attention. Okay, the attention will remain longer as expected. All right, it can help you as a writer and also help the readers to understand more your examples and then your general statement. All right, in the following paragraph, I have put an example, and in this example, the writer includes examples of mistreatment to support the claim that women's right to vote was hard-won. So probably you can understand what hard-won means after you read all the passage, the paragraphs, the sentences completely. Furthermore, she also draws a conclusion from the examples in her final sentence. Let's take a look at how examples are put in the paragraph, okay, as a supporting documents. Okay, I'm going to read for everyone, and you can read together with me, so we can understand more the application of example in this argumentative structure. Women's right to vote is a relatively new and hard-won privilege. Can you guess what a hard-won privilege? Hard-won, win, won. It's hard to get. Okay, it's hard to get. Privilege, you can understand what privilege is. The suffragists who demonstrated for their cause in front of the White House in 1917 were incarcerated and tortured. Incarcerated means imprisoned or jailed, di penjara ya. For example, the prison guards beat Lucy Bird and left her hanging all night, her hands cuffed to a bar above her head. They also threw Doris Louise headlong into a cell, smashing her head into an iron bed, you can imagine. For weeks, while imprisoned, these women were fed only warm, invested slop. You can try to have a look at your dictionary what warm, invested slop means. Okay? When one of their leaders, Alice Paul, began a hunger strike in protest of the treatment they were receiving, prison personnel tied her to a chair, forced a tube down her throat, and poured liquid into her until she vomited, threw up, vomited. She was tortured like this for weeks. These women endured torture on behalf of an entire class of human beings who were denied the right to vote. Women of today owe this right to the courageous suffragists who preceded them. So you can see here, the writer is trying to put the example, an appropriate example that can support her general statement, as you can see, as you understand in previous explanation, right? This one. And once again, vivid description. You can see that you can find some vivid descriptions, like for instance, left hanging all night, her hands cuffed to a bar above her head. Okay, it can give reader imagination. Okay, headlong into a cell, smashing her head into an iron bed. While in prison, these women were fed only warm, invested slop. So this is a part of vivid descriptions that can help capture and retain the reader's attention. So this is one way using examples, yeah, as a part of argumentative structure. All right, so this is another example. Once again, using personal example, supporting the agreement with the author of a text, previous text. Please see how the writer both tells the story with details and ends the paragraph with spelling out why the story is relevant to his arguments. Okay, let's take a look at the Example. I agree with Gilas that anticipating torture can often be more terrifying than actual torture. Once again, this is on the basis of personal example. When I needed to go to the doctor to get a shot, I put off scheduling the appointment as long as possible. I'm terrified by the mere idea of being stuck with a needle. I didn't sleep well the night before my appointment, and by the time I arrived at the doctor's office, I was jittery and pale. Jittery, jittery. Perhaps this is one of the vocabularies. Jittery. You can consult the dictionary. Try to imagine what jittery means using previous sentence. I didn't sleep well the night before my appointment, and by the time I arrived at the doctor's office, I was jittery and pale. Yeah, you can say gelisah. Okay. As the doctor prepared to give me the shot, I squeezed my eyes shut to block out the horrible pain I was sure was coming. Then I felt the tiniest little pinch. That was all. It was over. Although state-sponsored torture is certainly far worse than a simple shot in the arm, my experience has led me to believe that the combination of anticipation and fear one experiences prior to a painful situation often causes more discomfort than the situation itself. So focus on again at the end of the paragraph. So the writer using his personal example, spelling out why the story is relevant to the argument. Okay, you can read again on your own. And number 3, the other way, the last suggested way, expert opinion. Expert opinions are based on factual evidence. I have to restate the statement again. Expert opinions are based on factual evidence, but differ from fact in that they are interpretation of facts. So once again, it is quite strong using expert opinions, but once again, it is still interpretation of fact. Okay, the status of expert opinions are interpretation of fact, of a particular or certain facts. The fact that experts can draw different conclusions from the same information shows that opinions may not be as reliable as facts or personal experience. So once again, even though this is the opinions come from expert, opinions are still opinion, right? But the opinions from expert will be different from opinions from common people, right? Different level of quality, different level of capacity. So for example, I give my personal opinion about the components of COVID-19, okay, and then the impacts of COVID-19 upon somebody's body. My opinions are just opinions coming from common people that can be used or not, okay. But once again, when you put your argument as supporting details from expert opinions, is one of the common way in order to make your argumentative paragraph strong or solid. I repeat, so the fact that experts can draw different conclusions from the same information shows that opinions may not be as reliable as facts or personal experience, but they are a useful and common means of supporting an argument. Jadi boleh dipakai, ya, karena ada kandungan para ahli. Pendapat para ahli bisa lebih apa istilah berkualitas ya ketimbang pendapat para awam. Okay. In much of the argumentative writing you will rely upon the opinions of experts in the field you are studying, both to determine your own perspective and to support your claims. Okay, so that is the expert opinions highlight, and here is one of the examples for expert opinion. The following passage, I put the information, is taken from an essay titled The Decline and Fall of the Teaching History, in which author Diane Ravitch argues that an ignorance of history will prevent people from being able to make independent judgments on current issues. Ya, ini cukup berat ini ya. Apa namanya kontennya ya. Diane Ravitch argues that an ignorance of history will prevent people from being able to make independent judgments on current issues. Ravitch cites the opinion of a university professor as support for her claim. Ya, menggunakan pendapat seorang profesor universitas untuk mendukung klaimnya dia bahwa ignorance of history, ignorance of history will prevent people from being able to make independent judgments on current issues. Okay, let's take a look at the example. My gloomy assessment was echoed by Naomi Miller, chairman of the history department at Hunter College in New York. My students have no historical knowledge on which to draw when they enter college, she said. Professor Miller believes that we are in danger of bringing up a generation without historical memory. This is a dangerous situation. So this is how Diane Ravitch uses a university professor's opinion to support her claim. Okay, so what do you think of the, what is it? There's three suggested ways. Number one is using statistics. Number two is examples, and number three is expert opinion. All right, I will not give you further assignment. All you have to do is just listen to my explanation, and then you can have a look at my slides, read again and again, and try to understand, getting or having, acquiring better understanding, knowledge about how to write paragraph supporting details using examples or statistics, okay, in your argumentative paragraph. Okay, so I wish you good luck for the next exercise, can be done next time. Okay, thank you very much. Have a nice day. Stay safe and stay healthy. Goodbye.
All right, so how was the explanation? Writing paragraphs supporting details in argumentative paragraph. I hope you have a better understanding on writing the paragraph supporting details using the three suggested ways. Okay, so the rest will be with you. Keep on practicing, and good luck. I'm sure that you will be good at writing argumentative paragraph.